Our dreams are a portal into the deepest layers of our psychology and identity. No exaggeration, they enable you to map out your subconscious mind. Unfortunately, we've been brainwashed into thinking that they are nothing but random neural firings, and sadly, most people never develop the capacity to decode their dreams and exploit them to understand their own hidden pain and their own unrealized potential. We're not taking advantage of the dream world, this remarkable gift that we're given every night. So today we're going to talk about dream analysis. We're going to look at how to record your dreams and start analyzing them. We'll look at the exact elements that you need to understand to be able to decode them, and we'll learn what these elements point to in your psychology. Do you want to understand the mysterious world of dreams and learn the secrets that almost nobody knows? Then stick around. This is Deep Psychology. I'm Ross. We blend spirituality, psychology and self-help to shine a light on your inner workings. Listen if you want to get real, powerful insights and avoid all the fluffy nonsense that abounds in self-help circles. You'll know more about how your psychology works than 99% of people on the planet. Find me on all the major podcasting platforms or head to deep-psychology.com, visited by thousands every month, for tons of free resources. And I'm now on Patreon. I'd really appreciate you supporting the show, and in return you can access exclusive perks. Alright, time for the show. So let's talk a bit about why we want to do dream analysis. So as I said, dreams are a portal into the deepest layers of your own psychology, into this stranger that is yourself, or the part of you that you are a stranger to. Dreams show you your untapped potential. They show you parts of yourself that you deny to the death. They help you lucid dream when you become good at decoding them and you get into the habit of recording them. And they help you undo patterns in your life that might be painful and uncomfortable for you. And all of this contributes to fabulous levels of self-knowledge that I don't see many people having. So to get started with dream analysis, you're going to need to record your dreams somehow. Now, it takes a bit of practice to decode them, but the actual method of recording them is really easy. My method is every morning after I wake up, I write down the dreams that I can remember. Not in crazy detail, just the essentials. What you'll find is that, say you write 3 or 4 lines about a dream that you had, it'll trigger the memory of the dream, and you'll be able to think and you'll be able to remember in more detail what was happening without writing down all the details. That's what I find. The important thing is to have it written down, because we'd forget our dreams really quickly. You'll notice that after about 30 minutes, 60 minutes after waking up, you're going to have forgotten your dream unless you've reminded yourself a few times, oh, that's what I was dreaming. It disappears. Even if you think, oh yeah, I remember what I dreamt about 15 minutes after you wake up, make sure you get it down on paper. And I recommend you do a challenge, maybe the next 4 weeks, the next month. Challenge yourself to write down your dreams every morning. And this is how you do it. That's the easiest part. The next part is to start decoding them. So let's talk a little bit about dream decoding. Now, under my paradigm, and this is kind of the paradigm of Jung and Freud, so we're in good hands here. Dreams are an expression of repressed desires, wishes, and emotions. Freud focused more on the negative stuff. He focused on our dark desires. Jung wasn't really in agreement with him. He said that, or he claimed that dreams hide both things we might call unpleasant or negative and things we might tend to call positive and pleasant characteristics. So think in both of those terms. You'll see both in your dreams. And actually, if you think about it, even unpleasant stuff, let's say you've got repressed anger, that isn't inherently negative or unpleasant. If you channel it in the right way, it's very positive, actually. So don't think in terms of, dark or light repressed material necessarily, because all of our characteristics are positive if we channel them in the right way. All your dreams are expressing, the things you're expressing in your dreams, the things you're experiencing, are a reflection of unfulfilled or unexpressed psychological material. You've got to remember that. That's like the fundamental point of this episode. What you're going to discover is when you start writing your dreams down, is like they're little stories. They're like little stories that converge around a certain theme. Like you can sum up the dream in 5 or 6 words, maybe. Just a little sentence that sums up the dream. It's like an allegory or a situation. And underneath that, there's a deeper meaning. There's the repressed material. It's like in like an allegory or a myth or a legend, like traditional kinds, there's the story, but then there's the actual meaning of the story. Behind the meaning, there's like a spirit, there's a message, there's a piece of wisdom there. It's all metaphorical to various levels. The same goes with dreams. They're all metaphorical, and you have to, this is where the decoding comes in. You're looking beyond the details, but you're also using the details to sort of decipher where is that hidden piece of psychological gold. The first place to look is in your own behavior, speech, and emotions in the dream. Look at what you are experiencing, both like internally, and look at what you're expressing outwardly in the dream. What are you able to express freely in dreams that you maybe aren't able to express or feel in everyday life? Now, this is repressed, but if you're able to express it in the dream, it's not hugely repressed. It's kind of like you find it disagreeable, or you've siphoned it off from yourself, but not to the point that you're not letting yourself express it in dreams. It's under the surface, it's pushed down, but it's not so far that it's like even unacceptable for you to express in your dreams. Now, others' behavior is important. In dreams, there are no others, and if you listen to my introductory episode on dreams, you'll understand why. In dreams, there are no others. You create every character. You create the allegory. You might not be aware that you're doing that, but that's what you're doing. Look for what other people express, because this is everything they're expressing is actually your own psychological material, whether it's through their speech, through their behavior, through their emotional tone, etc. Now, the psychological material that is being expressed through them, or your hidden psychological material that is coming through them, it's actually a bit more repressed than the stuff that you are expressing in the dream, because it's pushed even further out of your sense of identity, which is why it seems like they're expressing it and you're not. That's the key. And this, if it's to that level of repression, to the point where you can't express it in dreams, but it's expressing itself for other people, this stuff causes you more pain and dysfunction and unrealized potential than the stuff that was in the previous category. Look for particularly emotional tone. Don't get too lost in the details. I'm not an advocate of getting too lost in the details and analysing every single symbol that appears in the dream. I don't think that's really the point. What you want to do is you look for the overall theme, the overall emotional tone of the dream through like the scene, the place you're in, the colours, the levels of lightness and darkness, the clothes that people are wearing, the time of day, the conversation you're having, the actions that are taking place there. It all has an impact, but you don't have to intellectually understand every last piece. It's more of a tone, it's more of a feeling, it's more the theme of the dream. Don't get too lost in the details. It's really good to look at very common examples, because This stuff is kind of abstract until you see what it's actually about. So even though some of these are quite obvious dreams and decodings, you have to match it up with your daily life as well. So don't just take my word for it. This dream means that. It might not exactly mean that, but it's like a good, that's like a decent estimation of what it means. You have to look at your daily life and look at, how does this behavior and these things I'm seeing in my dreams, how does this match up with what's going on in my daily life? If there's a huge gap between your dream world and your daily behaviors, your daily sense of identity, it means there's a lot of unexpressed or unacknowledged or repressed stuff in there. And don't get obsessed with these examples that I'm going to give you as if they were like a recipe. You follow this, you see this in your dream, that means that. You see this in your dream, that means that. It's not as simple as that. You have to go through the process yourself. You have to kind of intuit the meaning yourself. Even these typical dreams have endlessly many variations. You're never going to have the same exact same dream twice, probably. But there's themes and there's like an overall message that we're going to talk about this in a minute. But when you analyze your dreams, you're going to realize there's repeating themes there. And that's what you have to focus on, the theme, the overall message, rather than like getting obsessed with the details and the things the tiny little details that I'm telling you here. Number one, huge sort of category of common dreams is sexual encounters. Now, my take on this is that if you're having sexual encounters in your dreams, it's basically unexpressed sexual desire. It's quite simple. If you're expressing desires, like if you're initiating sexual acts and you're it feels like you are participating actively in the sexual act in your dream, it's not so repressed. It's just under the surface of your psyche. So, it's maybe not something, you're not expressing it enough in your daily life and you're not consciously acknowledging the sexual energy, but it's not so repressed. Now, if you're not expressing it, but others are expressing it either towards you or towards others in the dream, like it's out, if it seems like it's out there in the dream, it's quite repressed sexual desire. You have to match this up with your daily life as well. How much of your sexual energy are you in touch with in your daily life? Do you acknowledge that you have sexual energy? Are you able to, do you have an active sex life? If you're not, and you're having a lot of dreams about this stuff, there's probably quite a bit of, let's call it unused sexual energy, latent sexual energy that it's hidden under the surface of your psyche. Second really common dream is attacking or being attacked, like violence of some kind. Now, whether you're seeing it out there or you're actively attacking other people, it's various levels of repressed anger and aggression. And as I said, this is not a judgment. Like, I have these dreams. I'm not judging, oh, you've got repressed anger. This is like, these are just characteristics. And if you learn to reintegrate and channel them consciously, you're not going to have so many dreams about them, and you're going to be a much more integrated person. So they're not positive or negative. It's about how you channel them. Now, again, if it feels like you're consciously participating in the act of being angry or attacking someone in your dreams, the anger is just under the surface of your everyday psyche, of your persona. If you're being attacked, like let's say you're getting chased by a bear and it's scaring the life out of you, that anger and aggression, it's projected outwards in your dreams and it's quite repressed. It's quite below the surface of your everyday psyche. But again, this is your own repressed psychological material. So that's why it feels like you're being attacked, because it's projected outwards, it's under the surface, and this is how it's expressing itself through the dream. Another common dream is seeing old friends. Now, to me, this is like, it's the desire for intimacy and comfort expressing itself. It might even be unresolved regret or like a sense of sort of sadness around that situation. And again, look at your speech and behavior in the dream. What are you expressing in the dream that you usually don't? Like, are you cuddling your old friends? Are you chatting to your old friends? Are you saying things to them that you maybe have never said or you don't usually say to people? And match this up to your daily life. How are your friendships in daily life? Do you feel like you have a connection with other people? And if you don't, well, this is like the dream is showing you the gap between your everyday psyche and sort of all those desires that are going unmet, or they're being pushed underground. So you've got to, with each of these patterns, you have to match it up to your daily life as well. You can't just take what I'm saying on face value. So that's sort of an analysis of individual dreams that are very common. Now, once you've been writing your dreams down, again, for 30 days, a month, if you do that, you're going to start noticing patterns, I can promise you. You're not going to be having like 100 different types of dreams. You're going to be having a few themes repeated over and over again. I can almost guarantee it. Now, you've got to start identifying these patterns and repetitions. Maybe you're attacking or being attacked a lot. Maybe you're seeing old friends. Maybe there's a lot of sexual encounters in your dreams. And these, you have to match them up to your life. And ask yourself, are there unmet desires? Are there unmet needs? Are there repressed emotions and behaviors that don't come out in everyday life, and that's why they're coming out in my dreams? Things like character traits as well. Like these dreams, they point to deep aspects of your character. Like I'd even say deep energies, deep subpersonalities that are sort of, they've been hidden under the surface and repressed for years, maybe even decades. And the dream world is like your way of acting them out. And again, you're creating the dream. Remember this, you're creating dreams through your unmet desires and needs. So the dream is your way of expressing all of this without fear of repercussion. If it's out there, if it seems to be out there in other people in your dreams, it's still an expression. It's just that material is even more under the surface. So you've got to match it up to your personality, to your current, what's going on in your life right now, to really understand the dream and start making sense of it and start probing into your psychology. Now, let's look at some mistakes that you can make when you're interpreting dreams. First one is looking for the meaning outside. What I mean by this is that it's like thinking that the dream is imposed by something else on you. Like, the dream is showing me something, or the dream is, the dream was created so that I could realize that. I don't agree with that paradigm. When you start lucid dreaming, and we're going to talk about that in a future episode, and when you have enough self-awareness, the meaning of your dreams becomes quite obvious, and they're not imposed from outside of you. You're creating your dreams. They aren't messages being sent to them. They're self-generated messages. It's your unmet desires and needs expressing themselves. Always remember that. I hear people talking in this way about, the dream is showing me this, the dream is showing me that. I don't think it's like that. It's more like you're showing yourself something. And that it's up to you whether you want to listen to that message or not. The second one is using dream symbol books. If you go into like a bookshop and you go to like the psychology section, or perhaps they have a dream section, I don't know, like a shelf about dreams, you're going to come across books that like they give you like an A to Z list of all the things that can happen in dreams, and they like give you like an exact meaning. I just don't like this because it can get you into like this recipe type thinking, like this means that, put it all together, get the result. I just don't, it's not very sophisticated, it's not personal enough. And to me, the small details aren't really what's important. You have to understand the main theme. Look for the overall theme, the overall, like it's an allegory. Look for the overall sort of sense and message behind the allegory, and use that to start reintegrating your emotions and desires. The small details can be important as a contribution to the whole thing, but use them to support your understanding of the whole thing, not as a way to like mentally masturbate over all the details. Look for the core message and for the core piece of your psychology that is sort of wrapped up in there. Another one is trusting too much in like premonitions. I actually think it's quite seductive to believe that dreams are premonitions. I've had dreams of this kind, so I'm not going to necessarily deny that they're real. The problem for me is that we have several dreams every night, and most of them are not premonitions in any way. They're just an expression of repressed psychological material. What we tend to remember are we tend to remember the dreams that are most powerful to us, and therefore we're more likely to, let's say we have a dream about being cheated on by someone. We might have many other dreams that night or that week, but we only remember that one because it's the most potent one. And now, if it does come to pass that we are cheated on in the near future, we can say, oh, I had a dream about that. And it feels like you're tapping into something, you're seeing the future, but actually you're just remembering a specific dream. There's probably 50 other dreams that are not premonitory in any way. And there might be other ones that are premonitory that you're not remembering, or you're not even like, once you've woken up in the morning, you forget about them. So I just think, listen, if you're really like convinced and it makes sense to you and it helps you like understand yourself, fine. I'm not going to say like they don't exist. Ultimately, I don't really know. I just think that the way our psychology works is through confirmation bias a lot of the time. When we want to believe something, we find all the evidence that backs it up. And to me, it's kind of a distraction. It's kind of a distraction from realizing that actually the dream is an expression in its most fundamental form. It's an expression of something that is repressed within us. And this is true of even the ones that are premonitory. They're still an expression of some unexpressed fear or desire or whatever it is, if you look deep enough, if you look at the message of the dream. Alright, so remember the challenge I set you to write down your dreams every morning for an entire month and then start to glean the meaning from them from the tips I've given you in this episode and also the other episodes in this series on dreams. This takes practice and it takes effort, but know that eventually you get to a point where you start to see patterns and you start to intuit the meaning of your dreams and see the power of what we're doing. And to a certain extent, you actually start to expect certain dreams to come up because it's like a psychological theme in your life. And it's like, oh, there it is again. I've had a dream like that before quite recently. It might not be the exact one, but it's along the same lines, similar sort of themes in there. So make sure to check out my dreams playlist because I've got other videos on dreams as well. Do subscribe to the channel. I've got more episodes on dreams coming up, along with 2 videos per week, 2 episodes per week until the end of the year. And also consider supporting me on Patreon. That would be a big help for me. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you soon for more.